Well, good morning to you. 8:43. Happy Valentine's Day to you. And we want to make sure that you're aware of romance-related scams. You know, folks are out looking for love and sometimes in very wrong places. Folks may be out to get you, luring you with love. And just last year, the BBB Scam Tracker had reports of 236 romance scams, as they called them, in our state, costing victims more than $40,000. So this morning, I'm joined by Ben Spradley. He's with the Better Business Bureau with more on what we should be watching out for. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming on, Ben. So how do these romance scams typically work?
So it's pretty simple and it's pretty easy, and that's why it lures a lot of people in. So you'll use one of the more common dating apps, whether that's Tinder, Bumble. Facebook launched their dating platform last fall. You'll meet a match, you'll have a conversation. That conversation leads to typically some type of emergency where they need some funds quickly. You start giving money, they start asking for more money, and then pretty soon your funds are depleted.
Okay, so how long does this go on for before they start hitting you up for money?
It depends. So usually they want to try and get that money as fast as possible. And the longer they have a conversation, the more you may start to pick up that it's not the situation that you thought it was when you first got there.
Are they typically meeting up in person, or is this usually online stuff?
Actually, it's just the opposite. They rarely want to meet in person. If they can communicate via online, that's the way they prefer to do it.
Gotcha. Okay, so what are some ways that online daters can spot a scam so they don't become a victim?
The big thing is, if it feels too good to be true, there's a very good chance that it is. So if somebody says they're the heir to a fortune, or if they are in line with royalty, that's usually not the case. Same thing with, again, if they're pretty elusive as far as wanting to meet. They say they're working overseas all the time. Those are some pretty bright red flags as you're going through some of these dating profiles.
You know, sometimes you're blinded by love too, and maybe you're thinking this is my person, and I really feel connected with this person, and maybe that's what's difficult, to see those red flags.
That's exactly right, and that's why it's important to continue to ask questions. The more questions you ask, the more you can get to know that person and realize maybe that story they told me doesn't really match up with reality, and I think it's really important to do that so you can catch some of those details.
Okay, so how else can consumers protect themselves?
The big thing is, do not give out any personal information. So especially if you haven't met that person in person and gotten to really know them in the way that you need to, don't give out your credit card or routing information to your bank account. Don't give that social security number. Yeah. Try and keep some of that information as safeguarded as you can to protect some of your funds.
Yeah, so here's some of those tips right there. And then what if we are a victim, or if we see someone online and we start talking with them and they start talking about money and it becomes a red flag? What can we do at that point, in the app, or, can we alert authorities? What can we do?
Two of the most effective ways: you can report to the platform itself. So if you're using Facebook, if you're using Tinder, if you're using Bumble, let those folks know that this profile is not what it certainly appears on the surface anyway. They can check it out and hopefully remove that. You can also contact the FTC as well and let them know that. Romance scams are something that they unfortunately have to cover pretty prevalently too.
Very unromantic. Ben Spradling with the BBB, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you this morning. We have more information. You can go to bbb.org. You can also find their scam tracker tool there, and that will help you out. Let's check in with